My fellow victorious Americans, I cannot say that I ever foresaw us coming through these tough days in victory, but alas, we have. With the final Battle of Yorktown, October 19th, 1781, we forced the British to retreat after 2 days of battle. A special thanks to our French allies. And now we're on the road to recovering and settling peacefully with the British. Negotiations have taken place in Paris, and the British have ceded from the Allegheny Mountains to the Mississippi River to the United States. More from our reporter, Jill. Jill, what do you see happening?
Lincoln, of all the sheets of paper that I have held up that are representative of monumental documents, this sheet of paper represents one of the most monumental. I mean, they're all pretty important, but the point is this represents the Treaty of Paris. This document was negotiated and eventually signed by the American diplomats John Adams, Henry Lawrence, Benjamin Franklin, and John Jay, and the British diplomat Richard Oswald. The final draft was signed on September 3rd, 1783, and will be ratified in early 1784. The treaty secured favorable terms for America, including British recognition of American independence and the ceding of all territory between the Allegheny Mountains and the Mississippi River to us, thereby increasing the size of our nation. Our concessions were also reasonable, including the end of persecution of loyalists and the return of their property to them. This document marks the official end of the American Revolution and the beginning of a new nation. Back to you, Lincoln.
Thank you, Jillian. To my fellow Americans, our great country now stands not on the legs of a wobbling infant, but on those of a tottering toddler. With our freedom now recognized by the world, we act to set up a precedent of our new government. This has been difficult for our country as we fight for the states' rights and the power of a centralized power. Though political parties were feared by many due to the fear of already splitting such a young country, the two controversial parties, the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, have risen to power and struggle for a compromise. Now tune in at a sneak peek of our Constitutional Convention with Jillian Chavo, PhD.
I am reporting to you now from the Constitutional Convention. Here, 55 delegates from 12 states have thrown the Articles of Confederation out the proverbial window and started working on a new constitution for a new nation. Previously, during the hotter parts of the Philadelphia summer, equally heated arguments have arisen due to plans suggested by Virginia and New Jersey. Apparently, Virginia wants the number of delegates to be determined by the overall population of the state, which would give an advantage to larger states such as Virginia. New Jersey backhanded this with a plan that would make it so that each state gets one vote, much like the Articles of Confederation that we literally came here to rewrite. In short, no one is happy. And what do we do when no one is happy? We compromise. Tell them about the Great Compromise, Lincoln.
Thank you, Jill, for that. My fellow Americans, in case any of you had bothered reading the Articles of Confederation, well, we're here to inform you that we have a new Constitution in its place. The American Constitution was not possible without the Great Compromise, which helped appease each state and its equal representation. There will be a legislative branch in the government, that is, the representation of each state, that will receive 2 senators and a House of Representatives based on its population. The Constitution also contains a roadmap of the executive and judicial branches and their new powers at hand. And also included in the Constitution, and you're going to want to check this out, is the Bill of Rights, which maps out the rights that an individual has that the government cannot mess with. And that's about all for us, Americans. We here at this news station wish you all a happy and prosperous life in this new nation. Goodbye, and thank you for tuning in to Breaking the News with Jillian Chavo and Lincoln Jennings.